Hello, Nomads, and welcome to another episode of the Nomads of Fantasy, the spookiest podcast you will ever hear. This week is episode 118, and we are discussing horror indie video games, spooky indie video games. With me this week, as always, we have Eric.
Happy Halloween!
And Brandon.
You have died.
Over and over and over. What game is that?
Usually what games? I don't know.
All
Just any
horror
game.
From
You died.
Dark Souls is like
Every Resident Evil
famous
game.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have been defeated.
That's what I had in mind, but yeah.
Dead.
Yeah, and we've been shooting the shit for a while about just games in general, and we wanted to put together an episode because we always like to shout out to indie games, support our indie games because they always need a little bit of love. And it's that time of year where there are a lot of spooky-ish horror games out there, so we're going to give that a once over this week. If you guys would like to play along with us next week, we're going to be doing our catch up for what we've been playing. Spoiler warning, I've been playing some Mortal Kombat. I don't know what you guys have been up to, but there's always something going on in the background. And then first week in November, we're going to India, and we are going to be watching Jailer, which came to us as a recommendation from one of your work buddies, right, Eric?
That's right. Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
Amazon Prime.
Okay. Is it on Prime?
Yep.
Nice. Well, yeah, we are always looking for suggestions, especially for this kind of episode too. When we're talking about kind of like a mixed grab bag of, games and movies. Well, games today, but movies and whatever. But Eric, if people want to give us a shout out and get a hold of us to make any suggestions or just join in with the community that we have going over on Discord, where we're chatting up every day, how would they get a hold of us?
Well, David, I'm glad you asked. If you want to give us your indie horror game recommendations for this Halloween, you can go to the nomadsoffantasy.com/Discord if you want to hop in there, talk some video games with us, and whatever else is on your mind. We talk about movies, TV shows, just general life stuff. So it's always fun in there. We're always having a good conversation. If you want to, we have email too. Nobody uses it, but if you want to email us your horror game recommendations or anything else, nomadsoffantasy@gmail.com. Get over on the X, the Instagrams, the TikToks, all at Nomads of Fantasy. And while you're over at the nomadsoffantasy.com, check out our merch store. Grab a beanie for the winter season. We got
I just did today.
Yeah, exactly. So
Comes in a bunch of colors.
They are nice looking
Yes.
too.
They are.
Classy looking.
They are. So yes, all
Sweet.
good stuff.
Thank you, Eric. I will also mention our What Map game is chugging along through the end of the year. If it's like a Wordle, but video game maps. We play it pretty much every day because there's a new map every day. We've got it chugging along. We're at day 200. Something. No,
it's over.
We gotta be up close to
it's
3.
over 400 now because I remember
we've been doing it for a while.
I remember the other day was 404, which I thought was funny.
Holy shit!
So,
Well, there you go.
But you
Remember
can
that.
play. Can you go back and play every game?
Yes,
Yeah.
In the,
I added
that's a
that
pretty cool
feature
feature.
recently where if you're just coming in now, 400 maps in, you can play every single one up to this point. So
Not like lame ass Wordle, or you're gonna play them by the day.
right.
I think
much cooler
What
than
Map
that.
game is one of the best games you could play while pooping.
Definitely.
It's part of my morning coffee and poop routine. So
Yeah.
And there's
Definitely
there's
get it
in
some
there.
cool screenshots. A lot of video games have cool map art. So whatmapgame.com.
that's
Check that out.
kind of how it all started, and we like to appreciate things done well. So whether it's like skyboxes in games or maps in games, and how everybody does things a little differently, but it's nice to appreciate things that are
What
nice, so.
skybox would be a hard one?
don't know,
guess
like
the
a Destiny
skybox for
or
a video
a
game.
Gears. Destiny always had sweet skyboxes like off in the background.
If it was just the blue sky with clouds, that would be tough. But
Well,
could zoom
yeah.
out to the ground. Whatever. We got ideas.
That's a
over
whole
here.
nother story. On the scary games, I just before we jump into the next act, I figure I'll ask you guys a question here without your previous knowledge. When you guys are setting up to play scary games, how do you like to get into the mood? How do you like to set yourself up? I know Brandon likes to play with the lights on.
I'm alone in the dark with headphones on in my office.
Headphones too.
Yes, headphones are
Okay.
essential for horror games.
Okay. That I could see because that definitely does help, cancel out like your dog walking around in the background or
It's a big element just in
I'll-
horror.
yeah, I'll-
genre
somebody
in
opening the
general,
fridge.
sound.
I'll talk about this with my games, but I think the sound design in a horror game is like make or break almost. So, but
Yeah.
we'll get into
Help
it.
Yeah.
the scariness. Okay. Brandon, any tips, comments, questions, concerns about how you play?
Yeah, Dave says I play with the lights on because I can watch horror movies at night with headphones on and be fine. But video games, I can die in those. I can die early on in the game.
If you
so
die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah, like if you go back and check out our Resident Evil 7 episode, I think I played 20 minutes of the game and I said I watched somebody play
You
it
watched a
online. So that
walkthrough.
game, I watched a walkthrough. I'm not playing this.
The kitchen in
but-
that was fucking terrifying
Dude.
though.
That engine, yeah. But meanwhile, I'm playing Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 4 remake. Not nearly as scary. That Resident
really.
Evil 7, just
There was a real
good.
sense of like
So scary.
realism to that game where
Yeah.
like 7
and like
was
you couldn't
fucking,
see more
like,
than 4
terrifying.
feet in front of you because it was
Yeah,
just so dark.
The
and
first person
highly
mode
detailed.
makes a
in the
difference
sound.
too.
That game with headphones is nuts. But no, I the games I played, well, we'll get into them, but I did wear headphones, but I mostly played them during the day or like whatever, lights are on. Yeah, I'm not playing scary games.
I mean, the
with
only
lights
time I
on.
play games is at night with the lights off in my office, so that's how I play all games.
Man, okay.
They get you there. I usually have to go in smaller segments. I know when I was going through Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 2 remake or whatever, like they're so intense and so anxiety inducing that like I get like an hour and a half in and I'm like, all right, I need to take a cleansing breath, like relax, like go to the
Watch a
bathroom
Bluey
and-
episode or Spider-Man
Take-
movie
yeah,
or something
get
like
a
that.
palate
not that
cleanser.
far, but take a deep breath and kind of recenter myself here. So, all right, cool. Well, like, thank you guys for that quick impromptu answer.
You were welcome, Dave.
Yes, very much appreciated. Let's take a quick break here. Let's reset ourselves. Let's refocus. And I don't know.
By
get
that,
scared.
Dave
Let's
really
get
means
scared.
that he needs to go sneak another beer before we
No,
record
so
the rest of the
refocus.
episode.
We got a little
Take another
fireball.
shot.
This is my end of summer.
Oh,
natter
hey,
days.
hold on. Before we go to break, for the people that are watching, this is not a promo, and I don't know if Aldi wants to hear this.
If they want to
but-
sponsor us, then sure.
So Aldi, the store Aldi, they sell beer now, and they have a Hopping Nomad IPA.
Oh, it's a Nomad brand.
Yeah, so it's a session IPA. It's only 4.3%, 4.5%, less than a Budweiser. I don't know. I thought that was really cool.
How
Aldi,
is
they
it?
have a few beers
They
there.
taste all right.
Yeah, how is
It
it?
tastes
Brian?
great. It
usually
tastes
get-
really good. So
Listen.
I'll plug in. I just finished a. I was going to record this. Barely bottled.
Double
one.
hand.
Listen, this
So
is our
there.
ad
got-
promo for Aldi. I'm gonna submit this video to them.
Please do. They did a good job because another popular beer is Founders All Day IPA, and this is one of their beers, one of the different flavors. But Aldi did a good job, kind of replicating some of those known brands, but
Mhm.
putting their own spin on it. It's a little fruitier, but it's delicious. Like I don't know. I don't know how to like sell Aldi to people, but like if you're going in there to get something, don't
sleep
walk
on the
by
beers.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tucked away usually in a small spot, but
I
like
mean, it's a
new.
newer feature too. Yeah.
Yes,
the craft
it's
beers.
new. So,
Mhm.
yep.
Well, last week
It
you had
was
like the Guinness
6.9
one.
Yeah,
You had the
it
Guinness
was-
one, and like you couldn't really tell from.
I showed you real quick and then took it away,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, that looks like Guinness," and that's what they're trying to say. Like, yeah, there's one that's like Blue Moon, but
How do they compare though? How does it compare to the Guinness?
just as good. Well, Guinness has kind of got their own thing, but this IPA at least is really good. Like, I'm impressed with it. And it's $6.99 for a 6-pack or something like that. $7.99,
Yeah.
which is cheap. Usually craft beer is like $10, $11, $12 for a 6-pack. So.
Oh, well, that was our unsolicited Aldi's review.
The Hopping
of
Nomad
beers.
IPA. I would love to
Maybe
make
that's a
that.
little-
I would love to make that the official beer of the Nomads of Fantasy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. We'll have to take a trip out to Aldi's and see if we can. I'll get some for next week.
Aldi is
All right.
awesome.
Cool. Well, we'll put a break on it there. We're gonna take a quick break and let's come back a little spookier than we are here. For this. And welcome back, Nomads, to the spookiest episode of the year.
Ooh.
We are gonna hit up some indie games. So I know I said before we
Strap
like
in,
to kind of
fuckers.
yeah. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be that intense, but
It's gonna get
yeah,
intense. Scary in here.
we like to get these in this time of season, like because I think we all kind of play spooky games around this time of year. I think that's a good
Do something.
Get in the
spooky.
mood,
Good time
you
to get
know,
it
for the
in, or-
season.
Yeah.
I'm not playing Resident Evil in June. Like,
Well, I
that's
feel
not
like
gonna be happening.
I have to be in a very particular mood to voluntarily pick up a horror game. You know, like
Yeah.
if I'm gonna play a game on a weekend, you know, or whatever, just pick up a game at night. Probably not reaching for a horror game. Typically, unless
Right.
there's like a new big release like Resident Evil or something, but
Mm-hmm.
typically not. Has to be kind of either in the mood, the season, or just, you know, something I want.
It is
I've been
odd
wanting to
though,
play.
because like some of those big games I know this is an indie episode, but some of those big games will come out during the summer. It just seems weird. Like Resident Evil 4 came out this year.
Came out
earlier
like
in
the
the
spring,
year.
yeah.
Yeah. Like why don't you just save it
Well,
for like
something
September, October?
something interesting I was thinking about today is the horror genre in general for video games. Like, I feel like you don't see many AAA horror games. Like, you got your big ones, like Resident Evil,
Dead Space.
Dead Space.
Dead Space,
There's some
Resident
other
Evil,
ones.
and
There's like
Evil Within.
Evil
Like
Within.
those
Yeah.
are big ones with the budget.
Like
yeah.
even like Elden Ring. Would you consider Elden Ring? It's not horror,
Nah,
but it's like
it's not
it's
like-
like creepy, spooky.
But I feel like
kind of
horror is a
weird.
very specific genre, and
Yeah.
because of that, I think there isn't. I mean, much like horror movies, I feel like there isn't a mass appeal. More of like people like horror movies or they don't like horror movies, and I feel like it's the same with horror video games, which I think is part of the reason why we see. Honestly, the indie game scene is like almost oversaturated with horror games. I was just looking on today, like the new releases on Steam. There was like at least half of them were horror games, and like it was like 20 of them just today on Steam.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That
I was
is pretty impressive.
so I think there's, I mean, since it is kind of, you know, a more niche genre, I think there's more room to kind of experiment in that genre, especially since we don't see
Interesting.
many AAAs going into the horror genre since it doesn't have that mass appeal. So I think that's part of the reason why we see so many indie horror games and so many that are trying to do something different or experiment within the genre.
But usually the
Right.
indie games usually have a lower graphical fidelity, which what you were saying before about the audio quality, like
Yes.
audio is a big thing in these games. Some of the games that I was playing, they're more pixel based, which I think is less scary when you're getting into the more photorealistic
Mhm.
horror games like Resident Evil 7. So it's like it's a balancing act at the same time.
Yeah,
But,
the two
you know-
games I picked were on both sides of the spectrum. Like one of them
Okay.
is
Oh,
like
okay.
a top-down perspective, like more, you know, stylized art style, and then the other one was like a first-person, going for a more realistic, like you know, AAA experience. So
Nice.
got a good
What we need
mix
is
in there.
more FMV horror games. I think that's a genre that we need to tap into.
Well,
like
There's that
full
one
motion
game that-
video.
but there's
is
like
great.
the Quarry and
Yeah,
like those other
the
games.
Man,
you
the
know?
Man of Medan and the
Mhm.
what was
Yeah.
the big one?
But those aren't actual video. Those are actual in-engine.
No, but they're
games.
pretty.
They are.
They're basically doing the same thing though. You're
Yeah.
more or less watching people.
It's like
you
it's
can
like
move
quick
them
time
around, but
events, you know.
quick
You're-
time walking simulator horror kind of
Mhm.
thing.
All right. Well,
Until
let's jump
Dawn.
into it.
Sorry, that's the
Until
one
Dawn.
I was
Until
thinking.
Dawn,
Yes, that was a
thank
good
you,
one.
yeah.
That was when Hayden Panettiere, the
Yeah.
girl from Heroes.
Yep.
That's the only reason I remembered it. But yeah, I heard that one was actually really good too. But yeah, why don't we jump into what we got going on here? So I think Brandon, you were first up on the docket. Why don't you throw something our way? Let's hear what you
Sure.
got going on.
Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of indie games out there. Where do you go? Where do you start with that if you want to support the indie developers and do some horror? Well, one of the games I checked out came out this year, and I didn't know it was a horror game. It was just funny. This just kind of worked out, but The game is called Bramble, the Mountain King.
Bramble the Mountain King. All right.
Bramble.
I know nothing about
Bramble.
either of your games either, so this
Brandon
is kind of
just learned
for
what
me.
Bramble meant.
I've never heard Bramble before. I'm a dummy. I don't know.
The
But anyways,
spiky
I'm
bush.
like, what? And then they're like, no, it's like a spiky bush or something. I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense because there's like consistently
there's some spiky bushes
all over the place, and you have to like walk your way through them sometimes. But yeah. So this game, it was made by Dim Frost Studio. They gotta be from Europe. This game is based on Nordic folklore, and
sweet. I like that.
So I saw some trending videos on like TikTok and YouTube. You know, where you see like this little child like kind of hopping around on like lily pads, and all of a sudden this giant like naked monster like thing in the background sees you in the distance and starts walking towards you, and so you're really small, it's really big, and I'm like, what the hell is that game? Well, this game I discovered on Xbox Game Pass, and I downloaded it. I don't know. It's like one of those days where they added a bunch of games to Game Pass, and I just started downloading a bunch of them. I'm like, what's this one? Bramble? What the fuck? At the time, I didn't even know what the word was. I'm like, what is that? So I download it, and I swear to God, they paint it like it's a kid's game. They did this on purpose. It's kind of like Pan's Labyrinth a little bit from Del Toro, where it's kind of innocent enough and kind of friendly and all that stuff. This boy wakes up, and his sister's not there, and it takes place, probably, I don't know, maybe 1800s, 1700s, something like that. It takes place a while ago, just by the way they're dressed in the house they're living in. He leaves the house at night through the window, and he goes looking for his sister. And
hilarity ensues.
It's just like, well, because I say it's like a kid's game because he encounters these little gnomes. Do you remember that TV show from like the 80s? There was like this red cone, blue shirted gnome guy. It was a TV show that we all watched.
Romeo and Juliet?
Not Fraggle Rock.
I don't know. No, it was like something the gnome or something like that. Well, anyways, like Pete the Gnome or whatever. Harold the Gnome.
Sounds like the setup for like a Grimm's brother story or something.
Yeah,
which is David the Gnome. He looks like a lawn ornament.
Yeah,
he looks like a lawn ornament gnome. Yeah.
So this game, you encounter these little guys, and they literally are voiced by children, like giggling, like little giggles of kids and stuff like that. I'm like, okay.
Is this a voice game?
Not really, but they do like sounds like, oh, ow, ooh, stuff. But
how's that go again?
All of a sudden. So then you're like, there's a soundbite for you. So, but you're like, you like discover like this village of these kids, and things are starting to get really tall. Like mushrooms are getting really tall, and you're getting much smaller, but you're still towering over these like little gnome guys, and you're like playing peekaboo, and you're kind of finding them, and you're just like, yeah, this is cute, whatever. All right, fine. This is like a kid's game with some puzzles in it. This is great. Maybe my kids can watch me play this.
Sorry, keep going. I got a question about gameplay.
Well, but eventually, out of nowhere,
what kind of game is it?
Hold on, I'm just talking about the story, but like all of a sudden, like these giant trolls like come out of nowhere, like a boss thing comes out, and it just like kills them, and it gets really scary, real quick. So you're asking about the gameplay. It's
like
kind of
what would you say the genre is?
Action adventure. Yeah.
People liken it to Little Nightmares, which I've only played a little bit of.
Little Nightmares is really fucking good. I played through that game. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
It's
so you might like this.
I mean, Little Nightmares is like, it was cribbing like Limbo or Inside style, like the puzzle 3D, platformer, like 2D puzzle platformer.
Yeah. That's what more Bramble like is.
3D though? I'm looking at screenshots of it.
It goes in and out of that. So it might play like Limbo for a little bit. You can only go left or right, up and down. Then you're like in a 3D world, so you might walk on a path and it'll take you to an area, and then you can go anywhere you want, right? And you can jump.
Ooh, I like that.
You can climb and stuff. It's pretty limited on like what you can do, but it really takes you through all these worlds. So you're constantly meeting different like situations. I'll call them situations. Because really all you can do is run and jump on stuff and flash a light, but there's always like a different thing. Like, I don't know, I won't give anything away because I think the mystery in the exploring the world is the best part. It's really good sound. I wear it with headphones, really cool music.
It looks really like I'm looking at like a trailer of it now, and this
Yeah,
looks
so the
like
only thing I'll
this is
knock,
pretty solid 3D. Like the art style in this,
yeah,
and like the
the art is
lighting of it
incredible.
looks really nice.
Yes, so it's hit or miss with the visuals. It's an indie developer. I think the main character, the kid that you play, like he's kind of unfinished in design. I think he's not interesting to look at. He stands out, like the detail on him, like it's kind of stiff and limited, like it looks like an indie game. But the world that he's in and the animations of everything else and the framing of the camera and everything else is
just
really
looking
really
at
good.
screenshots from it looks great. And I'm kind of a sucker for like that little person in a big world theme in video games. So that's
you encounter a lot of these giant things. Some are good, some are bad. And it has a beautiful story. Like, again, like I think the less you know, the better. But the artwork that they use for the cover art is not good. It looks it looks amateur and like cartoony, but the game's more realistic looking. And then when you meet this kid and you play the game for the first 5 minutes, you think it's a kid's game, but it really does turn into a really creepy, scary game. I mean, there's like zombies in it.
It looks like Nordic, like horror
Nordic
Alice in
folklore.
Wonderlands.
Yep.
And the company
totally
company is out of Sweden, by the way.
It
Dim
is out of
Frost
Sweden. Okay.
Studio.
Yeah, forgot to look specifically where they're from. I thought it was really good, and it's got that Celtic midsummer kind of sound of like music. And there's this woman who's like narrating along a little bit.
Ooh,
you know,
like
so
that.
she'll kind of, because like the main character can't talk, right? We talked about this, how indie games, they don't have like the budget to really do a lot of voiceover, so they kind of rely on oohs, uhs, and all that stuff. But yeah,
definitely reminds me
the
of
less
like
you know, you better.
A lot of,
but check this one out.
The indie games, like I didn't play anything with any words in it either. Like everything is all text based essentially. So I get it's got to be creative or budgetary constraints. Like they don't have the budget to go hire all these voice actors and get all that stuff in there. So
I'll
you gotta work with what you got.
I'll close with this though. The game Bramble, it has, I think everything overall is fine. Like there's no issues with it. Like I would give it for an indie game, I'd easily give it 8.5 out of 10. I think it got really good ratings, but sometimes it's frustrating a little bit where like you can't really tell where you're supposed to jump when you do some platforming, and you redo it over and over again, but you don't really have to backtrack much. It kind of remembers where you left off, so you can crush this game in a few nights if you wanted to.
Nice.
And there's some boss fights at the end that can be frustrating, but you just got to learn the pattern and then you're good.
Did you finish
that's kind of
this
when
game?
It gets really scary. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. This one I finished. My other game I did not, but this one I did.
I mean, I know you don't finish many games, so if it was good enough to pull you through to the end, then
I didn't think I was going to finish this game when I started it. I just literally downloaded it, started playing it, and I'm like, hey, what's this? And all of a sudden, before I wrapped it up, like that first playthrough, I was like, oh, it's for kids. I'll have my kids play with me sometime. I kept going a little bit, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a horror game.
Can you imagine if you picked it up and you're like, hey, kids, check this game out?
I don't want to say anything. It's like there's some fucked up, scary things that happen in this. That's just not very scary, very creepy. For me, I was like, how am I playing this? But I got through it.
Nice. Well, that sounds very cool. Thank you for sharing with the class. You said this is on Game Pass?
It's on everything.
Yep.
Okay.
Game Pass. I think I downloaded it on Game Pass because you talked about it on a catch up a while ago.
Yeah, a few months ago when it came out on Game Pass, I started it and I thought, oh, this would be great for Halloween, so I kind of waited a little bit so that it was fresh in my memory, and I'm glad I did.
I mean,
I actually beat it this afternoon.
Just you talking about it and looking at some of the screenshots and stuff. Definitely, it makes me want to check it out. At least play a little bit of it.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm gonna jump in and go next because
do it.
Make sure we keep this train moving. I played a game called Signalis. Is that the correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, Signalis.
Okay. Yeah. This one is defined as a survival horror game.
This was one of my runner-up picks, by the way. I was going to do it, but then you were doing it, so I decided not to do it.
I was kind of hoping that somebody else would too, because this is an interesting game. Because knowing that you like Resident Evil games, this game reminded me a lot of those old school Resident Evil games.
That's what I've heard.
When it came out, people were talking about it in that way. Yeah.
Signalis came out October 27th of last year, 2022. It's gotten some fantastic reviews, but it is a top-down, like 2.5D perspective. I don't know, like action adventure game, I
Isometric
guess.
type.
Yeah, I mean, and it's got some puzzles
Is
in it.
it
This
fixed
game is
camera angles like the first
Yes.
Resident Evil?
From what I remember,
Okay.
yeah.
This is created by Rose Engine, which is literally 2 people in Germany.
Damn, 2 people made that?
Yuri Stern and Barbara Whitman, 2
Wow.
illustrators and game designers from
Okay.
Hamburg,
I was
Germany,
going to say that illustration is really good.
which makes
That's
this game
cool.
so much more fucking impressive that 2 people put this out. But I guess to put a quick story synopsis on it. It's, in the future at some point where there are they're called replicas, but they're kind of like androids. They feel a little bit like replicants from
Blade
Blade
Runner.
Runner, kind of,
Okay.
where they're, semi-human, but they're, they haven't quite perfected that either. But there's, a big mystery on where you just kind of wake up and you go into this, plant, and there's, I don't want to call them zombies, but they're like replicas that have kind of gone, I don't know, off. Like they've gone off the rails, where they're
It's like,
almost kind of like,
It's like Alien
when they go
Isolation,
rampant.
like the average Joes. where they're,
The
you
Average
know.
Joes. Yeah, that's a good one. Which is a great game, by the way.
Oh,
Scary
Alien
as
Isolation.
fuck.
Oh my god, love that game.
yes, that is a must play. But yes, this one is it takes a lot from the Resident Evil genre. You got, your left trigger pulls up your gun, and you can kind of look around with the other stick and, jack people. There is, a lot of exploration, and you got to go find this key to open this door, and then you got to open, that gives you something else to go get somewhere else. I ended up
Did
playing
you have
this.
a hard time exploring? Because when I played it, I got frustrated with it. I didn't get too far in it because I'm like, I don't know where to go or what to do.
I
And
was
I
gonna
didn't want to
say
look online. I just turned it off.
at one point I did get a walkthrough, but I found
Okay.
they called it a walkthrough with light spoilers, and I like
Spoilers.
yeah, because they don't tell you exactly what to do. They say, all right, you got this key card, now go to this room and get this stuff, and then go over to this room and get stuff, but they don't tell you like the exact steps that you need to go from one point to the other.
Okay, well, you just know objective.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like, hey, you go
that's
get this
nice.
key, go to this floor and open up this door, and then you get whatever you get in there. They're not handwriting it out for you, so you're following like specific step by step. And I do wish a lot of games would do something like this, where they have, or I don't know, walkthroughs would do something like this, where they give you like a light version.
More games
of
should
the
just
walkthrough.
have built-in hint systems, anyways. Like, hey, if you want to
Yeah.
hit this button, and it'll just tell you where to go. Like,
That would also be helpful. But no, it's got a super creepy atmosphere to it. It's not terribly scary. It's more of like creepy. It's got that survival horror thing where like everything is in low, like you don't have a lot of bullets. You're constantly running low on, health packs or ammunition and stuff like that. I didn't have a melee weapon, so if you're like out of ammo, you just fucking street defeat, and you gotta run past these zombies and get to where you gotta go. There were some issues with like some of the things that's kind of annoying is the inventory system, because you can hold 6 things.
Mhm.
And 6 things is all you can hold for the entire game. So there's a lot of like running back to storage boxes to empty out your inventory, so I can go back to this room to pick
Trying
up
to add
all
to
this
that
shit.
tension.
yeah, that's like
Yeah,
the survival horror.
it's
genre.
specifically built in like that. So like, yeah, but
That's a
if you
Resident
want,
Evil move there.
you got to have a flashlight to go in certain dark rooms, which is super.
But if there's no way
creepy.
to expand your inventory, at least with the Resident Evil games, there's always ways to upgrade your inventory. But
Yeah,
if you're just stuck with the same size the whole game, that's kind of a bummer.
If this had that, I mean, it would help out immensely, because I mean, at a certain point, you're carrying around one gun with the ammo, and then like a key card or something that you need to go to the next place, and then you do your thing, and then you got to go. I mean, it's probably the OCD in me where I like go back to the storage box, pick up what I need, go do the thing I got to do, and then run back. But I didn't finish this one. I got pretty far in it. I played, 10, 15 hours of it.
It's long for an indie
Damn.
game.
Yeah, it is.
Not finished it. Did you finish that game?
I don't know if
Which one?
Signalis?
No, I never played it. I wanted to check it out, but I never actually did. No.
Oh, I thought you checked it. Okay.
Yeah, and they do have some cool like puzzles in it. We have to like
The artwork is good. That's why I
replace
downloaded
fuses.
it.
Yeah, it's all like a pixel based kind of, like, I don't know, it's not pixely like Mario, but it's got like a filter over it where everything kind of looks pixely and nice.
Is it? It's 3D though, right? Like
technically yes, because when you get like the flashlight and you're shining it around the room, like
Yeah.
you can see it moving in the 3D space, which is
okay.
super cool. But
So it's 3-dimensional
like,
models, but fixed camera angle,
Yes.
2D perspective. Okay.
but some of the story beats that you hit, they'll have like flashbacks or stuff like that. Those will take place in first person, but you will still have the same pixelized filter over it where you're like kind of walking down a hallway or walking through a train and like looking around with regular like dual stick first person controls. They don't do a lot in those, cutscenes or whatever. You're not fighting anybody in those. You're kind of using those for like story beat narrative elements to kind of push you through it. But this one actually is leaving Game Pass very shortly, but
It's an indie game. Indie games are not that expensive if you really want to check
It's
it
been
out.
on Game Pass for a year, and it's like
it's $20 on Steam. It's got a 10 out of 10 on Steam.
Mhm.
It's got a 97% on Google. But if you like those old school survival horror games, I would highly recommend this one.
Nice.
They've got a cool, deeper story that goes into it. Whether and they're making commentary about androids and are they people? Like, how do we treat them? All that kind of stuff like that. So I thought Signalis was a super cool one. They're gonna be pulling it soon, so I gotta try and get that in before the end of the week. And get that one finished out. But
Sweet.
yeah, I thought that one was a cool surprise. I had seen the picture on Game Pass and I had, I'm like, it looks interesting. But then I played it for this one and I was pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
All right. That was me. Let's take a jump over to E-Rock. What did you get into this season?
The first game I'm gonna talk about is a game called Darkwood. So
yeah.
Have you heard of this one?
I think Xbox gave it away for free. It was like a Games with Gold or something like that. I think I have it.
I got it.
But I never played it.
This looks creepy as shit. Just the screenshot.
I got it on the Epic Game Store for free, like, I don't know, probably a year ago or something. And now that I have my Steam Deck, I can access my Epic Games library on there.
Yes.
So I was looking through there to see if there were any cool horror games, and I found this one called Darkwood, and it has super good reviews, has like a 9 out of 10 on Steam. And this was developed and published by a studio called Acid Wizard Studio, which they are located in Poland. And
it's a sweet ass name too.
This studio is only 3 people, so another very small.
Oh yes,
indie
this
team.
game.
Awesome.
Yep.
I checked this out. Yeah, Dave, if you like Signalis, you would probably like this.
Brandon would hate this game. I think if you
did not like it.
Yeah.
I uninstalled it right away.
But it's
I got out of the house. I got out of the opening house. Like I got far enough, but I was just like,
I think Dave
I'm
would
good on this.
I think Dave
I'm
might
watching the trailer
like this game because
there's a creepy naked lady walking into the woods. It reminds me very much of Vitch that we watched for last week.
It is
dude, no, Bramble is like the witch with sound and all that shit. But no, I didn't like this game. Yeah, for reasons because. But I don't know. Dave might like it because there's all this inventory.
All right, well, let me explain it.
Well, yeah.
Stop cribbing
what is
my
this,
fucking game. This
game sucks.
Like I said, this was developed by 3 people in Poland. It entered Steam Early Access in 2014 and was released in 2017. And this is a survival horror game. So you are doing, like Brandon said, a lot of inventory management. You are doing crafting. You are collecting materials. So the conceit, like just the basic overview and plot of this game, it takes place in the 1980s in the Polish People's Republic. The So this is like
Sweet.
Cold War era Poland. And basically you get trapped, you wake up, there's this whole prologue where you're this doctor. So, you know, you're playing kind of like the bad guy to start out. And you sort of rescue the character that you play throughout the rest of the game. So it's like the prologue's like the tutorial teaching you the mechanics of how your inventory
Which is
works
cool.
and everything. And so the doctor like beats the shit out of the main character and steals this key, which the key is to like this underground base. So there's like a group of people who are like survivors in this world because the forest you're trapped in, like it's just become like super overgrown, and there's like a plague going on in the forest, and people are like turning into mutants, monsters.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a cool concept.
It's a very dark wood.
Right. It's a very dark wood. But your goal is basically to find, the key to get to the underground base and escape the forest.
What's the gameplay like in this?
So the gameplay during the day, there's a day-night cycle sort of thing.
Ooh, that's cool.
So, Dave's in already. So during the day, you are collecting materials to basically craft. So you have this house, which is your home base, and you have this like gas that keeps the monsters away, like flowing throughout your house. But you have to find gas. You have to find like fuel, gasoline, to fuel your generator so that you can, keep your lights on and the gas flowing and everything, so you keep the monsters away. You can, you're finding wood and stuff to board up your windows and doors so the monsters don't get in.
Does this stuff regenerate, or is it like a limited supply of those resources, or do they come back?
I think throughout, because it's like based on days. So I think when it's the next day, I think some of that stuff regenerates. But I think the materials are randomized. Like they might not be in the same location that they are on the previous day. Cool. But yeah, eventually the story progresses more, and you have these goals. Like first goal is just kind of to survive, craft some stuff, collect materials. And then you meet some other characters who tell you like, hey, there's, meet me in the woods, like on the other side of the woods, but make sure you're prepared so you don't die on the way there. So now you're preparing for this long journey through the woods. But that
sounds fun.
So there's like different objectives, and you unlock more. It starts out, it's like a semi-open world, they describe it as. Like you can go any direction you want, but after you like complete an area, you kind of move on to the next area.
But it's not procedurally generated or anything.
No.
Like it's
this is the kind of game where you get to know the landscape and the map and the area, because you have a map, but it doesn't tell you exactly where you are on the map. So you have to, like, whenever you discover a new landmark, it'll mark it on the map. So
okay, cool.
You can, like, it'll tell you if you're at a specific landmark, but if you're in between landmarks, you don't know exactly where you are. So you have to use your sense of direction.
Kind of realistic.
Yeah, so you have to use your sense of direction to find your way back to the house. Like, say it's starting to get dark and you don't remember which way the house was. You got to look at your map and be like, okay,
that is awesome.
The burned out house is over here, so I know that I got to go north to get back to my home base.
That's good, because you're not following checkpoint markers or following the trail or anything. It gets you more immersed into the worlds.
Yeah, definitely.
I think immersion's a key thing, I think, with some horror games. A game like that, because it's going more realistic.
Very realistic, because
that was a smart move.
Whenever you open your inventory management, you press B, you get down on the ground, you slowly open your bag. The game doesn't pause when you are looking through your inventory, and you only have your inventory with your bag and all your materials, but you only have 3 quick action slots that you can use. So you have to pick which materials you want to use in your 3 slots. And so if you get hurt and you want to heal, it's very deliberate. Every action in this game is very deliberate. If you want to take out a bandage,
let me get this out of my bag.
You hold you have to equip it in a slot. You have to hold down left trigger, and then you have to hold down left trigger to prepare it, and then hold down the right shoulder button to actually use the item. And it's the same with weapons too. Like if you have a weapon equipped, like an axe or something, you hold the left trigger to bring it up, and then you press the right shoulder to swing it down.
Okay.
And you have a stamina meter as well, that anything you do uses stamina, and you don't have very much of it. So like if you have to get away from an enemy, you better be conserving your stamina. Or if you have to fight an enemy, you know, you have to really watch your stamina, because it drains very quickly.
All top down?
All from a top down perspective, which is cool, because I don't know if I've ever played a top down horror game before. And I think the perspective makes it a little bit less scary because you're more removed from the action. But I think this game, like I was saying, has very good sound design. Because you're hearing the creaks in the forest, you're hearing rustling in the leaves, you're hearing footsteps. It's like, you know, spatial audio, so you're hearing footsteps. You know, if there's if they start out at the right, you can hear them like coming around the house to the other side. So it's very cool, and it's very tense at night because you hole up in your house at night. And the only criticism of this game so far that I have is that, like, once you get back to your house, you have to just wait for the night to end and for it to be the next day. Like, you can't just go to your bed and sleep and then it's the next day.
Take a nap.
You just have to wait, which was kind of annoying because I'm just waiting there, sitting in my house, hearing all this stuff rustling around me. But I did have.
Can they get in the house? Can they break in?
So I did have one really tense moment, which was actually kind of cool. So everything, like all the objects in this game, you can move around to. So like, there's a dresser in the house. So I didn't have my door barricaded, so anybody could get in there.
In front of it.
So I dragged the dresser in front of the door, and I was just sitting there waiting one night, and the door like creaked open. And I was just like frozen, just waiting for something to happen. I had my like fucking board with nails in it, ready to smash someone, but nothing ever came inside. But just that one little creak of the door was, it's pretty intense. And like, it's pitch black at night too. You can't see anything. And it's the kind of game where you have a vision cone. So basically anywhere you look is what you can see. So that makes it more scary, because if you're looking one way, you can't see something that's behind you about to attack you. So. But yeah, it was good.
It's pretty creepy. This looks good. Is this out on any other consoles?
It's on everything. Literally everything.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
It came to the next gen consoles, PS5, Xbox X and S last year. So it's on there. It's on the Switch. It's on PC. Yeah. It's on everything.
Looks like a good $15, which I think pretty much, I mean, indie games are usually at a lower price point. So you get a lot of bang for your buck, it sounds like. That's cool.
And this game said it's pretty long too for an indie game. It says it's like over 20 hours long. So yeah. I mean, I feel like I barely scratched the surface. I played maybe like 3 hours of this game. But
How long to beat says 18 and a half.
Okay, so you know, it's a pretty lengthy for an indie game. But I felt like I got a good taste for what it was, and like just the mystery and, you know, of the story is kind of making me want to go back. But it is pretty cumbersome to like do the inventory management and everything. But that's that's part of the survival horror of it. So
yeah,
but it was good.
Real. That's cool.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
All right, Darkwood. I'm gonna have to mark.
Sounds like a porn star.
Darkwood
name.
Not really.
I got that Darkwood.
Darkwood. I don't know if I like that.
I don't want that.
All right. Well, let's keep on moving out. Let's get out of this Darkwood.
All right, I'm gonna go opposite with my next one. So it's, I don't know. You guys know me. I can't play horror games. It's tough. So my second game is actually not that scary at all. It's called Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb's good. I haven't played it, but I want to play it.
Massive Monster made it. And it's kind of cute. And I've been playing this on and off for a few months, and it's great. It's a roguelike kind of game. It's got this cartoony 2D top-down perspective. But what I like is its hybrid approach to the two game genres. So it has a little bit of Hades going on, right? Where you go and you go to a room, like a screen or whatever, and you wipe everything out, and then you pick then you go to the next room, and then and then like you can choose what path you might want to go in this one instead of the doors in Hades. This is just like you finish the level, do another level, and it's like, okay, you can go left, straight, whatever.
So is this top down?
Top down.
I have no idea what I think I've seen a picture of it.
It's like
so just think of
2D, like almost like paper craft style, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's cartoony,
Very cartoony,
art style, like I don't know, Alien Hominid or whatever.
Okay.
Castle Crashers,
like Flash games, yes.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
what they
that
say on
very
their
flat.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. But beyond the art style, which is awesome, and the really catchy music, and the cute characters and all that stuff, the gameplay is really good when you're doing like the fighting stuff. But I said it's a hybrid because all right, you die, you're like this little lamb, and you get killed, you get sacrificed to like a god or whatever. But then like some god like finds you and says, "No, you will come back alive, and you will create a cult, and they will worship you, but you will do my bidding because like there's other gods that have wronged me, and you need to take out the other gods." So you're just going out killing like all these creatures, working your way to fight these like other gods, and which are the boss fights. But you need followers. Like, so what do you do with these followers? You send them to your village. So you have this little village, and it's kind of like I don't know. It's cool. It's like they will either worship you while you're fighting, and there's a daytime cycle, right? It's even when you're fighting, it's still happening. You'll have these little other animals tending to the land. They need a place to sleep. But like as they worship you, you unlock stuff, and when you unlock stuff, it benefits the village. So it's pretty cool. Like you got to feed them. All right, so you feed them, and then like, all right, well they shit. So what do you do with the shit? So you could pick it up. You can use it as fertilizer, but you should also have like a toilet that they could shit into. Yeah, or like if they get sick, you need a medical bay, And then like sometimes and it's all around religion and cults, so it's like it's kind of funny, but like there's dark humor with that, and like I just got this thing where I'll have a follower, and he's like, "I don't believe in you anymore," and he doesn't really say anything, but he'll have like a megaphone, and you just hear this, just this cute little voice of this angry little animal, and like, all right, enough of this, and I'll shackle him up, and then like I'll have him sit there for a few days, and every day I'll like re-educate him or something like that until he's like stops spewing like nonsense.
Sacrifice them too.
So you can sacrifice them. So like, let's say you're fighting and you die. Well, it's like, all right, well your run is over. You can go back to your village, and if you do, your followers will frown upon you because that looks like you might not be the one to be following because you're losing. So it's like, I don't want to lose, I don't want to die, so I will sacrifice somebody. So like maybe you have a disgruntled follower who's like starting to doubt you. You could sacrifice that guy. He'll get you back in the game. You can keep fighting stuff like that. When you beat these bosses, there's usually like a follower that you get out of it. You counter other followers. The followers will give you quests. They'll get old and they'll die, so you got to bury their body. If you just leave their body, disease will break out. So there's like the simulation town village kind of aspect to the game that's really fun and pretty basic, but we've played those games before. And then it's got that roguelike game loop where you just go and do different runs.
More games should mishmash genres like that. Like,
yeah,
that's a really cool combination of genres.
It's a weird cuteness, but it's like a dark cuteness to it, where they're like,
yeah, it's not
like
scary
little,
anyway,
like animes
dark.
with the big eyes, but it looks like they're also like murdering and burying bodies.
Did you mention the developer? Because I know this is published by Devolver, which we all know Devolver.
It's a Devolver game published, yeah, but it was made by Massive Monster.
Okay.
Massive Monster looks like they said, I think they were out of Australia and the UK. It looks like
none of us are playing American-made games. I'm noticing.
It's a couple of
indie developers across the pond.
Yeah,
they're old Flash developers, which makes
that's cool.
Really good sense. But it looks like there's like 12 to 15 people that work with this company.
Yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
It does everything that it intended to do very well. And it's funny because like I got my first follower, and him and I, we were tight, and they only last for like a few days, and then they age so fast in the game, and then he's like, it's like he's turning old, he's got a cane, and I'm seeing him walking around. I'm like, oh man, like don't die on me. And then you get the option of like sending him to heaven. So I did it for my first follower. I'm like, you know what, you were my first Altair or whatever, and like I sent him up. He's like a donkey like looking guy, and I sent him up, and I was like, I'm going to do that to everybody. Nobody will die. There will be no death here. We will be sent to the heavens.
That's what all the cult leaders say.
Mhm.
Right, dude. But shit goes down. Like people get sick. People, die. They die of old age. I'm like, oh shit. So like, you gotta bury them, and they see that, and then like other ones are just like disgruntled. So I sacrifice them. I only sent the one guy. Only one guy I sent into the heavens. Everyone else is I've let themselves age out, or I've sacrificed them, or they leave. But it took a while, and it's fun. So I'll say one more thing, and then we can wrap up here. But with my game here, but sometimes things get out of control, and they'll threaten you. So like, hey, like you have like I was down like 2 followers, and it's like if you don't have any followers, your cult is over, and then you will die as this reincarnate god. So this lamb. So you need to make sure that you're always adding people. So it's tense because some things get out of control, but stick with it. Just listen to your cult followers, and take care of them, and they'll do you okay. So I went from like 8 or 9 followers down to 2. I was like, man, I've been playing this game. I'm going to lose all my effort, like all my progress, but I got more, and I got them to stop dying and stop getting angry, and I'm taking care of them, and it's fun because like I think I was focusing too much on the fighting mechanic and not in the town mechanic, so I kind of chilled out. And you gotta really balance it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't seem like a Brandon game, like the town management.
That's what I was
the regular
thinking too.
stuff
Yeah.
looks, but
yeah,
if
I like some simulators.
You will be happy as a pig as shit because they remade apparently on the Cult of the Lamb merch store. They have a Jaws poster with like the lamb at the top, and then it looks like the demon god coming up from the bottom, like his Jaws.
Okay, yeah,
it looks pretty fucking sweet.
Cool.
That's pretty dope.
But how's the music? Because they actually have.
I was just gonna say the
vinyls.
Music get the in. Yeah, it's really good. It's
vinyls
really good.
of the music is on the site too, and I'm like, you gotta have good music if you're gonna put out a vinyl of the soundtrack.
It's got that It's got that super catchy, indie, quirky, cute music in the background that you could totally like work to, for sure.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm always down for a good roguelike, roguelite, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
So like when you go out on missions, like that's the roguelite version of it, and then when you come back, it's like the town maintenance.
Yeah, but like the one follower might come up to you and is like, I have a brother, like you gotta go and look for him, and like another one would be like, I need these flowers, if you can get these flowers. I'm like, yeah. So when you're out there fighting, like in Hades, like I keep referring to that game, but like you're fighting these different monsters and all that stuff, and you're dodging and killing shit. In that level, that screen or that room or whatever, there'll be, the things you might need, like resources, like grass, wood, fruit, stuff like that. So like it forces you to go out and fight to get the resources that you need to take care of your people. So it really does a good job. Once you get into the game, it really does a good game loop where like you just can't get out. I'm like, oh, but before I go to bed, I just want to build that thing. But if I want to build a thing, I got to get wood. Let me go get some wood. Let me go fight something, and
sounds like a good loop.
Yeah, it does. Did you buy this one?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think I got it on sale for like $15.
Nice.
I would say it's a game that you can under $20.
I would want a game like that on my Switch or my Steam Deck, like portable.
Yeah.
I wish I got it on Switch. I'll be honest with you. I think it's a game that you can totally play in bed because the shifts that you've put in when you do a run or when you take care of your village, like when you do both of those, it's a good hour. Like it doesn't have to be. It could easily be done in like half an hour or less, but it's a good hour of just kind of
sounds like good chunks
and stuff like that.
Damn, it's on sale right now too, Brandon, for $15.
Normally $15. That's what I got.
Normally $25, but its sale ends after Halloween. So,
ooh,
depending on when we get this episode
$15 to
up.
an indie developer who did a good job Yeah, it's just published by
I've heard
Revolver,
nothing but good things about it.
Devolver.
Also,
yeah, Devolver. Yeah, but
so,
okay.
that's cool.
Nice. That sounds awesome. I have the demo downloaded and I have not touched it because I wanted to hear what your thoughts were on it. So
It's a fun game to play with little kids in because they're like, "Did you just sacrifice that?" I'm like, "I did, son. I did because he disobeyed."
But it's like
my
such
law. And my word is
heavy,
law.
Yeah, I don't
heavy
sacrifice you.
themes, but such a cute art style.
It is.
Yeah.
It's funny
Yeah.
the dichotomy.
It's loaded with charm. It gets 10 out of 10 on the charm, but I would give this game easily like 9 out of 10. Like it's just really good at what it meant to do. And I think I'll close with this. The mishmashed hybrid approach is a good thing. I want to see more of that in games.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. That sounds like a fun one. Well, speaking of roguelikes, I played a roguelike.
Oh.
Everybody's heard of this little indie game called Dead Cells, right?
Yeah.
We've all played Dead Cells. I got the Castlevania DLC for Dead Cells. I think I mentioned it
dude?
a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
Yep. I loaded it and then it took me a minute to get used to it. First off, absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10. One of the best DLCs for kind of any game that I've kind of put together because it is so well incorporated into the main game. So it's not like you just be like, I'm going to play the Castlevania DLC or whatever. You do your Dead Cells run as normal, except now, what's it, Alucard? You'll go through a run and you'll run into Alucard and you'll talk to him and he'll say like, yo, I need some help at this Dracula's castle. Come help me out. And you're like, word, and then you die, and then you come back, and then you start your next run. And every single time you start a run on the beginning level, if you just keep cutting right, like you'll find a set of stairs, and the stairs go down, and that's how you get into the DLC. It's like baked.
Oh, you can choose to either go do the normal game or the DLC.
That's cool.
Baked into the normal game, which is amazing because
smart. I like that.
Like if you want to just do a regular run, you just you go up or down or whatever.
Right.
But I know if you see that set of stairs in the first level, you go down that steps and then you get to the castle. Castle outskirts is the first one.
Okay.
And it is super impressive the amount of, because they pull in everything from Castlevania. They pull in characters, they pull in the weapons, they pull in music, they pull in the levels, they pull in fucking everything. And Dead Cells has a fantastic side scrolling kind of loop, and it's got that great gameplay that goes with it, that it kind of fits so perfectly into the Castlevania.
It did inspire a lot of the whole genre. So like for a game to pull it into the game, it should fit.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, it does fantastic, but like it still does that same loop where you're still using the cells to unlock new weapons, using the cells to unlock new mutations, but now they're all like Castlevania based weapons. So you're unlocking a boomerang and
Morningstar.
I ain't got no whip yet.
Holy water,
boomerangs, axes. It's got all the same guys, like, and they like their attack patterns are the same, their move lists are the same. So when you see a knight and he throws an axe, like the knight throws the axe the same way. Same thing with like the skeletons and like everything, like the bats. Like the Castlevania bats always have that thing where they like fly down next to you and then they kind of shoot across, but they have that same. So if you played Castlevanias before, it's like putting on a comfy old sweater or putting on a warm pair of shoes that old worn pair of shoes.
Does it stop and then it tells you like nighttime has come and all that stuff?
I don't remember if they said I think they did at some point say what a terrible night to have a curse or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got to work so well with Dead Cells too, because that game is just so tight. Like the controls, the combat.
I'm excited just talking about it because they did such an amazing job of porting this over in there. I know I talked about the music and the enemies and all that stuff, but like the locations, like it does the same. It's got that same ramp up that Castlevanias do, where you start outside the castle, then you go inside the castle, then you go to a clock tower, and then you go like death is a mini boss. The death mini boss is kind of like the point where like if you're gonna have a good run,
Skill
if you beat
check.
death, then you're gonna have a good run, and you're gonna better fucking batten down the hatches, get ready for a good half-hour run. Because death is kind of a dick. But I have yet, I don't even know how many runs I've done. I have yet to get all the way to Dracula. I've gotten into Dracula's castle. I've gone up above it, and they all they follow that same game pattern where, like, if you're in the clock tower, you've got to go, like, you're trying to move up. If you're in, I think you go down to the dungeons at one point, you're just kind of pushing right and stuff like that. It's like a smoother, more streamlined version of Castlevania, where, because every run is so different, where you're not just always hitting the whip, and you're not always just getting like the same. You're not trying to follow the same patterns where everything is in the same place every time. I know where the holy water is here. I know where the boomerang is here. I know that to kill Medusa, I need to get, my holy water and my triple shot, and she's dead in like 2 seconds. It just feels so good. It works so good. It is. I just can't say enough about how absolutely fantastic this one is. This is one that, like, I will go back and I will play, not during the Halloween season. I will play this for a long time, probably until I finally beat Dracula. But this is like the top tier, like, version of bringing in DLC into the game. Like, even when
who made this game?
Oh, sorry, I did skip over that.
Well, I'm just curious because wasn't it Konami that made? Was it Capcom or Konami? Who made Castlevania?
Konami,
right?
Castlevania, yeah.
Yeah.
That partnership. Yeah.
Dead Cells was created by Motion Twin. They've got like 3 studios here, so
It's probably the
I know we talk
ports,
about
like
indie studios or whatever. But
usually sometimes with indie games they'll have like a different studio do a port to like a platform like Switch or something. That's what happened with Darkwood. A different studio did the Switch port.
Bramble did as well. It was like chicken lunch, or it was like some chicken something. I was just like, what? And it literally just said 3 people's names, and they exported the Nintendo Switch. Yeah. I'm like, there's a company, and they just do that?
Well,
like,
it's more than just saying file export to Switch.
Oh, really?
A little bit more. Yeah, this one's made by Motion Twin, and it looks like they've got 7 people there.
But I'm curious, like, how did, like, Castlevania guys be like, yeah, go ahead.
Konami's all about doing partnerships, because they don't make games anymore. They just fucking license out their IPs to everybody else.
They make pachinko machines.
Yeah, exactly. That's how they're making money. They're just fucking licensing out all their famous IPs.
And I mean, the stuff that Dead Cells is kind of like I don't say they cribbed a lot from Castlevania, but like
it's a perfect
they took a
marriage
lot from that genre. Yeah, it is kind of the perfect.
It's the closest
marriage.
you can get. Yeah.
You're making me want to go back and play Dead Cells, because I never actually finished like a run of the base game. It's so fucking hard.
It's hard. I got to the second or third world, and I'm like, I'm done.
Well, like even before Castlevania, with all the things that they've added to it, like I don't know when the last played was, but
it was all free content too that they've added up to this point. This is their first paid DLC.
I don't think this one wasn't that expensive. Just to add the DLC on, I think it was like $10.
$10,
like,
okay,
yeah. On top of regular Dead Cells.
You're making me want to play it.
But like, how you get the boss cells from beating like the first run. I've beaten the main run once. That's as far as I got. But when you start now, you can go down and get like an additional mutation that like prevents you from getting more boss cells, but it also gives you like an extra powerful thing to help you progress further in the regular game, which is really cool, because like some of them are like, poison damage actually heals you now, or like anytime you're doing bleeding damage, you are getting back like 3% of your health.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
that sounds helpful.
Yeah, so it is very helpful, where you can play in like the regular normal mode. You don't have to play on easy, but you can add on these additional mutations, which you're not getting the boss cells, but at the same time you're seeing more of the game, you're unlocking more weapons, you're unlocking more stuff. So
that's cool.
Like my best run, I had like anything with bleeding damage, gives you back health. And then the first weapon I got was like a sword that causes bleeding damage. And I would, like, as I was hitting people, they would be beating me, my bar would go down, but then as I hit them, it would just like fill right back up. And it was
Okay.
a fantastic
That's
run.
good
And
because
then,
I don't like games where like I lose so much health that like I'm avoiding fighting everything, but like there's so much to fight that I'm constantly jumping around stuff. I'm like, this is
In a game like that, you want to fight stuff because the combat
right,
is so
exactly.
fun.
So it's for the rewards you. It's like, well, if you fight it though and you beat it, you'll get some health out of it. So I think that's a great.
it is, yeah. I
Upgrade.
think the Dead Cells and Castlevania I think it's on Amazon for like $40 for both of them together. If you already have Dead Cells, I highly recommend you go back and play it if you haven't played it in a while, because they've got all this new DLCs. And then throw on the Castlevania on there, and it's given me like that Hades compulsion to just do another run.
I know, it's
just
like
to
when
keep
you
going and keep going.
Dude.
Hades had more story to it, but this just,
Guys,
it feels so good.
Hades 2 is coming out next year. I at like the beginning of next year. I can't fucking wait.
I still gotta
Leave it up.
finish Hades. I still haven't beat Hades yet.
Really? Oh my god. Oh.
I
You
always
beat
get- I
like
always
one
lost.
run? You haven't beat?
No, I always lost the
No.
fight at the end. Yeah.
That's tough, but
I never
no,
got
that
to
was
the
my Dead
10.
Cells Castlevania. I will stand on a soapbox and I will yell about this all day. I can't recommend this one enough. So
Awesome.
there's enough of me gushing.
I like that you picked another game that is like me, where it's not that scary.
It isn't scary. It's kind of like, I mean, like that's kind of
It's in
what I
that-
was thinking. Like, it's got vampires, it's got mummies and wolves and like blood.
The
and
first game was
stuff,
scary.
but, like,
The second one, not so much.
Well,
Same with me.
I'm up next, and I picked
yeah,
my next game.
Another scary
fucking
game.
scary game, like
Oh,
actual
yeah, your
legit
game. Oh,
scary
yeah.
game.
No, thank
is it
you.
okay? I don't know this one.
This is a little game called SOMA. Very critically acclaimed. People love this game. It's a 10 out of 10 on Steam. People consider it like one of the best horror games ever.
I googled it, and Soma is also women's lingerie, intimates, and bra apparel.
Okay.
So, search for Soma game.
SOMA
Sorry.
game, yes.
Go ahead.
Who made it?
This is developed and published by Frictional Games, which is the same makers as Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Yeah.
So yes,
Are they American?
made an Amnesia game. That's a good question. They
curious,
are Swedish. They are Swedish.
Another
okay,
Swedes. Nice.
Yep, they are
Alright.
Swedish.
Okay.
So yeah, Soma, first-person survival horror game, released in 2015. So it's
Been out for a
it's
while,
been
yeah.
out for a while. But I just remember when it first came out, people were raving about it. Like, you got to be in the horror genre fan, obviously, to appreciate it. But like, people who love that genre really love this game when it came
It's got
out.
some Bioshocky feels to it from
So-
just the pictures.
So I'll give you the setting and the plot synopsis here. So at first when you start out in the game, you wake up, you're this normal guy, and you had just been in like a car accident and you have brain damage. Your brain is bleeding and you only have a couple months to live, essentially. So your main character like is involved, he gets involved with this like research company, like this, I don't know, some dude that's doing brain research, and he offers him like this trial for this program where you get your brain scanned, and then it takes the scan of your brain and it does a simulation of like treatments, like a computer simulation of all these treatments, and then once it develops the perfect treatment, it can apply it back to your brain so it can heal his brain or whatever.
Okay.
So
Kinda
this
cool.
you go to this place with this dude, this researcher, and you go to get your brain scanned. Scan happens, everything goes dark, you wake up, you're in this desolate underwater research station. No semblance of how you got there. You just appear that, you just wake up and you're there. So that's part of the mystery, like how you got there, why you're there, all this stuff. But the world building is really cool because there's like, you're in this underground research station, but on the surface, there was like an apocalyptic event that happened. So the only people left, like survivors on Earth, are the people in this underwater research station. So you're going around trying to find. It's very traditional, like survival first person horror. There's no combat. It's all like sneaking around, puzzle solving.
Oh, no,
you might have just lost me
there. It's a combination, I would say, between like Alien Isolation with like the gameplay, but you never. I mean, I didn't finish it, but from what I played, you don't get any weapons, nothing to defend yourself. So your only defense is to run away.
Before, you're right. Yeah, you only run away, I think.
So Alien Isolation, Dead Space, I would say, for like the setting. So it's not in space, but like it's almost
might as well be. It's water.
It feels like a space station. This research station. Very creepy, very dark. A little bit of BioShocky vibes thrown in there, only because it's like this underwater setting. But is
it one of those games where there's like constantly somebody talking to you, like a narrator, like hey, get down in the tunnel and then we'll get you in the evac room, and so okay, go to the medical bay and we'll.
It starts out with just you, but you do eventually pick up like this AI partner. So you have like this device called an Omni tool, and eventually you meet this whatever she. So the whole thing of this game, it's kind of like what Dave said with Signalis, where like it explores the idea of what it means to be human, and like if it's just your consciousness, are you still human? Are you still alive? You know, if you're not in your body but your consciousness is still exists. So it explores a lot with that idea.
Explains the poster art for the game, because it shows like a woman looking in the mirror and sees a robot on the other side of whatever, vice versa.
So there's a couple throughout the game, there's a couple times where you come across these robots, and they're clearly robots, but they think they are people. So like they're people, like living people who used to be alive. Their consciousness has been put into these robots, but they are not convinced that they are actually a robot. They're like, what are you talking about? I see my hands. I'm me, but you're like, I see a robot in front of me. So like, it's cool, how they explore that idea. But, eventually you get, one of those people, kind of that narrator in your head telling you where to go and what to do. But,
okay.
Yeah, I know we talked about indie games don't usually have like it's all text-based voice acting. This game actually has a good amount of voice acting, and it's for an indie game. I hate to quantify it that way, but for an indie game, it's really, really good voice acting. Like it's obviously not on the level of like The Last of Us or acting like that in a video game, but it's good, and it almost reminded me a little bit of like the main character. Reminded me of like Ethan from Resident Evil 7, where he's like,
not fazed by shit.
Right. He's like,
whoa, what the fuck?
Right. He's not really like terrified by what's happening in front of him. He's just like going along with it. Like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But it's pretty scary because like you have these huge hulking monster like machine, like a combination of like a machine and like a robot that's oozing black goo, and they're like stalking you. It's fucking creepy as hell. But it's cool because
headphones playing this thing.
Oh yeah, and the sound design is really fucking good, and I think that part of what makes the game so scary, because it reminded me of like Resident Evil 7, where you're walking through this underwater research station. You're hearing like the creaks and the groans of the station, like the water pressure from the station. It sounds like it's about to collapse. You hear, something. It sounds like someone's right behind you, but really it's just something creaking in the background. So,
oh no!
A lot of that stuff. But the main gameplay is you're going through the station. You're trying to basically your end goal is to get to this arc, they call it, which basically. The arc is they gathered all the consciousnesses from the people in the research station. They put them on this spaceship, and they're going to blast it out into space, where all of their consciousnesses will live in this like virtual reality space for eternity.
That's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful nice of them.
So that's like their escape plan, to get on the ark and get out of there. So, but yeah, you're going through the station. There's not always something stalking you. A lot of times you're just solving puzzles or trying to figure out what to do next. But I mean, the atmosphere is like super creepy at all times.
So Eric, you said Amnesia, right? Same
Yeah.
guys that did Amnesia. So in Amnesia, right? Too scary for me to check out. Why would I check it out? I know that those are scary games, but they added a bunch to Game Pass, and they're like, I don't know, the newest one was like a remake of the first one, a remaster or something. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna check it out and just see how long I can last until I uninstall it. Right. What was cool was they had an assisted mode, which takes away any threats in that game. So you can play it for the story and do all the puzzles and not worry about dying.
Interesting. That's kind of cool.
So I'm like, I love assisted mode. I'm playing it in a few games. I'm playing assisted mode in Resident Evil 4. You know, I got so much ammo in that game. And I was going to ask, did they do that for SOMA, where they have an assisted mode?
Not that I can see.
I can answer this.
Or there is an easy mode. There is an easy mode.
There's a safe mode, they call it.
Yes, that's right. There is.
Monsters still haunt the hallways of Pathos, but they don't attack you and can't kill you.
I forgot about that. There is that
then
mode.
I can play the game. You know, I don't know if I can, but
it's still probably creepy as fuck. But I'm curious what happens in the safe mode. Like if you go up to them, do they?
It says it makes it more part of the scenery, and like, you know, you'll still hear the heart thumping when you get close to them and stuff like that. But like they don't attack you. They can't kill you.
Yeah, because in the normal mode, if they spot you, they come charging at you like fucking. Yeah, it's so scary.
That just creeps me out right now. I can't. That happened in Bramble. I was playing a game and the shit would just like run at you. I'm like, fuck!
Dude, it's so creepy. Like, cause one of the monsters had like a spotlight and was like searching around. As soon as it fucking spots you, it comes charging straight at you. I'm like,
that's one of.
Does it show you how you die?
So I never actually died in the game. You have like a couple of hits that you can take before you actually. It's not like a one hit kill death.
Oh, okay.
So like, I thought I was dead. So I ran directly at the monster just to like, because I had no other option. Like I was dead. But that actually
the best way to make them not scary is to just run at the bad guy.
So that was actually it was a good thing. It was a good thing that I did that, because I was like trapped in a corner. But when I ran into them, the screen like went white for a minute, like I got hit by something. But then when it came back, like the monster had like backed off me a little bit, so I was able to actually run away and hide. So I don't know how many hits you can take. You basically, so once you get damaged, your vision starts to get a little bit blurry, and it will stay that way until you heal. Like there's these, they look like buttholes on the wall, but that's what you use to heal. You like stick your hand in the butthole and it heals you. So, and those are like few and far between. So like you can take a couple hits before you die. I never actually died. But I didn't finish this game. It's not too long. I think it's like 8 hours. I played 3 hours of it. But
How long to beat?
I wanna keep playing it.
Main story is at 9 hours 9 minutes.
Okay,
there you go.
There you go.
Spot on.
But yeah, very cool setting, and it's cool because like you actually go outside into like the open water and you're walking around.
No.
Which I was like, okay, I'm not trapped in the space, or I'm not trapped in the station anymore. So outside I'm probably safe, right? No, that's not the case. There's still fucking monsters out there. Yeah. And like they're in the fucking, when you're outside, you know, you can't, I mean, it's the bottom of the ocean, so you can't see that far in front of you. So like there's just shit lurking in the darkness. Yeah, it's creepy.
Ugh.
That sounds like a cool one. This picture looks creepy as shit. Looks like,
it's like creepy as hell.
Kind of atmosphere, and
the creepiest part is the atmosphere. I mean, at least when the monsters are like in your vicinity, you can clock them, you know where they are, you can hide, you can like lean out behind things to, you know, see where they are. Because a lot of times, you know, you have to wait for them to walk past, and then you just sneak right past them and, you know, get to your whatever objective or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely creepy for sure.
It's always a trick in like those sneaky games with like How sneaky are you? Can like once you're out of their cone of vision, can you just like walk past them, like, or it's always like figuring out like how
This
the stealth mechanism works in
this
games.
game is definitely sound based. So if you make too much noise, if you crash into something, objects on the floor. It's one cool thing
Yeah.
about this game. Everything is movable. Like you can pick up anything and like chuck it across the room. So if you want to distract a monster, you could pick up a can on the table and throw it so you can distract them so you can
Okay.
walk past. So the monsters definitely respond to sound. So you can, use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Super cool.
That's a cool feature.
Nice. Well, thank you, Eric, for bringing that to class.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if we're good, we got one last one. This is a little bonus one that we were debating on for a little bit. That I wanted to talk about. Everybody's favorite Halloween.
Technically, it's an indie game.
It is.
Technically, it
We looked
is.
it up.
We're talking about Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. Came out last year. It was on sale for like $15 and I scooped it up. Brandon already had it, so we're like, fuck it, let's throw it in. Let's strap on the Proton packs. Let's go bust some ghosts.
It's a game made for fans.
It really is, because this is another one where there's like a lot of detail and a lot of love put into this game. You can feel the love.
I feel like it's canon too, because if you watched the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie that came out, this takes place right after that.
Basically,
so it's got Winston and it's got Ray in it.
Yeah, and the post credits sequence from Afterlife was Winston deciding that he's going to go fix up the old ghost house and fix up the thing. Yeah, well, let's not give it too much away, but essentially you're just like a for hire Ghostbuster. You're first person busting, talking to Ray. You're talking to Winston. You're walking around the firehouse. And then you and your couple buddies go party up and you go bust some ghosts. You go to all sorts of cool. There's a lot of environments. I didn't really see any repeated that we played. There's
they got a good hand. They got a good amount, and they just did an Ecto edition or something like that. It's a multiplayer focused game.
Asynchronous multiplayer.
Yes.
Where one person is playing asymmetrical. Thank you.
Yeah. One person's the ghost. And everyone else is a Ghostbuster, so you can style your character any way you want. It can be cool looking or you can be silly looking. It's kind of got a Pixar, Overwatch, cartoony look to it, but there's a lot of detail in the game, so fans will really appreciate all the models that they brought in and the different backpacks, and you can upgrade, your PK meter, and you can PKG meter, right?
PKE.
PKE. Thank you. There's just a lot in the game, and I think you get more out of it the more of a fan you are for Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah,
but the multiplayer, the gameplay's pretty basic, but it's pretty fun.
It's fine. The guys that Ilphonic, and this is kind of what we were debating on, like, is this really an indie game? But after we went and looked, like, Ilphonic, makes and publishes kind of their own games.
Like their games, they've only done a few, but they were all like IP games, so that's what made it feel like.
Hey, they're from the US.
Oh, okay,
that's true.
But dude, the first game was what, Friday the 13th?
No, they did.
They've done Friday the 13th. They did a Predator game.
Predator Hunting Grounds. I wanted to play that game.
Yeah, that's supposed to be pretty.
And those are all the same. What is it? Would you say asymmetrical?
Yeah,
asymmetrical.
View one. Yeah.
Which means like they got their the foundation of the game down and set. It's just like pulling in all the pieces from all those.
They helped out on Evolve.
Like we got our style.
The original.
I was
multiplayer game.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, how that game kind of started that genre, but yeah, I would say for $15, it's a good price.
It's fantastic for $15. I think that's
Is there any like progression going on in this game?
Just unlockables, really.
Okay.
And there's a story.
Is it cosmetic or are you like upgrading your equipment and stuff?
I think it's all cosmetic. I think.
Yeah, I think it's all cosmetic.
You're probably getting boosts on stuff as you upgrade them. Like, your cooldown of your proton pack helps. Like when you upgrade the proton pack, it makes it easier to tag ghosts, but it also gets more heat, or it's kind of like that.
Literally says in the description, as players progress, they will unlock cosmetics and upgrades for both Ghostbusters and Ghosts to evolve their gameplay experiences.
There you go. Okay.
Boom shakalaka. The company, which is kind of weird, Ilphonic, was founded by three guys, and Raphael Sadiq was one of the founding members of Tony, a R&B group back in the 90s, which I still Tony is still solid. They got some jams from back in the day, which is kind of funny, but it's weird to see somebody kind of cross over as like a singer songwriter, like performer, and then now he owns and helps run a video game studio, which is super cool.
Sweet.
So good for him. But no, I thought it was fun. We played a couple matches last night. Like, really,
it's kid friendly. Like, you can your
very...
kids, if you want your kids to like Ghostbusters, you can play this one with your kids. It's enough for like the Ghostbuster adult fan playing it, but the kids would be like, "This is pretty fun." Zap and go, like walking through a museum and like, "Oh shit, that painting is moving." And you go and like, "Oh no, I've been slimed," and then there's people running around like, "Oh, I'm leaving." Like, you gotta talk people down. Like, "Whoa, don't leave." It's over because you're a Ghostbuster. Like, you're supposed to go in and like catch the ghost, but like you're doing damage, so like you're losing money when you're trying to zap shit. Like, you might blow away like an art piece or a chair or a wall or a light or something like that, or a window, and it comes out of your pocket. So it's yeah.
And the ghost is trying to make the location like haunted. Like, it goes from like percentage of how haunted it is. Well, like they'll scare the shit out of people, and people will flee the scene. And people start fleeing, like running out of the building. That means like the haunt's going to go up, and you got to talk people down, like Brandon said, or bust the ghost a certain number of times. Make sure you kill the ghost respawns, and then you trap them in the trap. And
trapping them does not get old. It always is so fun. Very just like fuck you. And
like the fact that you can, when you go back to the firehouse, you can walk back down into the basement, put the trap into the thing, press the buttons, and light is green, trap is clean. Like, it's just fucking fun.
I like a game like this is like there's gameplay. Like, you're gonna go and catch ghosts.
There's gameplay?
The first thing but I say that because the first thing you're gonna do, probably right, Dave, is explore the fuck out of the firehouse.
Every nook and cranny of that firehouse.
Yeah, it's just go in the.
It says
go in the basement.
They reprise the roles too. Stance.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not gonna just run and go play the game. Like, you're gonna take your time and just walk around and look at all the detail. It's well done.
And currently, the firehouse is dressed up for Halloween. So, like, there's pumpkins everywhere. There's
cool.
skeletons everywhere. Yep. And I'm assuming when it gets to Christmas and stuff, like,
they might.
It's cool that
Christmas
they
tree.
they put that kind of stuff in there.
It's interesting because like Ray's House of like shit. Like, if you watch the movie, if you watch the latest
Ray's House of Shit.
Ray's, not House of Shit. Yes, it's Ray's Occult.
Yes, that building is in the movie, right? Because he's called in the afterlife, and he's talking to them and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, that's interesting. Where is he? Apparently, it's right next door to the firehouse.
It's not right next door. Let's be honest.
In the game, it is.
Yeah, in the game. Well, Winston probably bought it and moved him over there. That's probably.
Let's go with that.
We'll build some real life. Yeah.
I thought he bought like an old Starbucks or something.
Kind of looks like one.
He said at one point, Winston says that he said that they tried to open a coffee house in the old Ghostbusters place.
Oh, maybe that was
or something like that. Like,
okay.
He said made a comment like that or something like that. But it's just a fun shits and giggles kind of side game. If you like Ghostbusters, absolutely, I think it's
a must buy.
Yeah.
Should play with our buddy Driving D-Van from our Discord.
Yeah,
he's a huge Ghostbusters fan.
That's why
huge. Yeah,
that would be cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We got any honorable mentions that we want to spit out before we,
No.
cut out and go to the next?
I don't think so. No.
Not really.
I think as far as indie games go, they're usually a good focus because they're usually very accessible because they're at the lower price point.
Mhm.
I want to shout out like Resident Evil games. Like you can get Resident Evil 7 for like $5 to $10. Like all the old, like the remakes of old Resident Evil games are super cheap. We've got Dead Cells coming over to
The remake.
Game Pass.
The
The
Game Pass,
remake
yeah.
is coming over in just another week. And I mean, I always play Castlevania games around this time of year, like Lords of Shadow. Like that game is fucking awesome. Like
Dude, I would
third person action adventure, like God of War, Castlevania. Like it's great.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Phasmophobia, but I would love to play that with you guys.
I have heard of that.
So it's like Ghostbusters, but realistic. So you're actually going into like real, not real, but like haunted houses with real like ghost hunting equipment that like, the ghost hunters use and shit. And you're trying to determine what kind of ghost it is and all this stuff, but I've seen streams of it and it looks really fun with like a group of people.
Ooh, this looks creepy as shit.
It is, yeah. It's like actually scary, but I think it would be fun.
What's it called?
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
But I think it would be fun because I think we would be maybe less scared if we were all doing it together. But it's cool because it uses like spatial audio too. So like if your characters are far apart in the game, you can't hear each other as well over your headset because like in the game you're using radios, so it uses spatial audio, and then like if one person dies they can't talk anymore, like you can't hear them anymore.
Oh, this looks great. Yeah, this looks like found footage, awesome. The video game.
Yeah, so I think that would be fun.
Okay, it sounds scary as fuck, but if I could play with buddies,
yeah, we would all be together until one of us dies.
Well, then we cry.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, no, that's a good honorable mention. Let's take a break. We've talked about video games for a long time here, so let's take a quick break, and we're gonna do a quick indie game quiz when we come back, and then let's wrap this up. Awesome. Thank you, boys. See you in a minute. Nomads for our round of Indy said what? I don't know.
Indy said
I didn't
what?
give this game. I didn't give this game a good name. We're just gonna do a quick
can
Indy
tell.
triv. Yeah, thanks.
All right.
To kind of give a couple shout outs to some other indie games that we've come across throughout the years. So we'll go back and forth. You guys are going to be playing against each other.
Oh boy.
Okay.
First to 3 will win. How's that?
The loser has to go to the underground or the underwater research station.
Go to the Darkwoods. Yeah.
Or the Darkwood. Yeah.
Loser gets stuck in the Darkwoods.
Would you rather go to the Darkwood or the underwater research station with monsters roaming the halls?
I think probably the Darkwoods.
Yeah, I would choose the Darkwood.
Out of those two. Number between 1 and 100. Go.
57. I don't know why I picked that one, but that's what came to mind. Would you pick 1, Brandon?
Yeah.
You're boring.
All right. Eric goes first. I picked 77.
Yeah.
A hot number. All right, Eric. First question up. What is the name of the character in Braid? Braid is an old school classic game that's been around. I think this is like 360 days.
It's like
when
it's like popularized indie games almost.
He's got 4 names underneath that picture, so you can read.
Yeah.
Jeremy, Tim,
name
Tom,
of the characters
James.
in Braid is Jeremy, Tim, Tom, James.
I never actually played Braid, but
it is a mind melter.
I want to say it's Tim. I want to say that.
Tim is correct.
Sweet.
Wow, I didn't know that. I was going to say James, but there you go. All right, Eric's on the board with a quick 1.
Oh, why can't I get the inside question?
Jonathan Blow's time-bending narrative puzzle. Yeah, that one was a trip back in 2008. So,
2008.
Yeah. This quiz is brought to us by NintendoLife.com. So
beautiful.
I am not taking credit for any of these. So, Brandon, next. Inside, classic. Excellent follow-up to which celebrated game from indie developer Playdead? Limbo, Bastion, Undertale, or Hollow Knight? It is a follow-up to what?
Limbo, I think.
Game?
I want to say it's Limbo.
You think?
That is correct.
No.
There you go.
Okay.
Grim puzzle platformer Limbo. I mean, it's the same side scrolling.
It's the same game, right? Okay.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Limbo and Inside. They sell like the packaged 2 games in one disc.
There you go.
Are those games purely identical? Like I've played Inside way more than Limbo. But
no, they're both side scrollers.
They're different.
But they kind of have that same.
They're both
the same side scrolling.
They're both 2D puzzle
kind of
platformers, but yeah, I mean, Limbo is more like it's all like silhouette. The art style is much different, like silhouettes.
Right. It's the art's difference, but the gameplay is the same. You can go left, right, up, down, grab stuff, and jump.
The same. Yep.
Nice.
Okay. Both great.
All right, over to you, Eric. No visual representation here. This is an interesting one. Which of these indie games hadn't appeared on Nintendo platform prior to the Switch? Super Meat Boy, Hollow Knight, Cave Story, The Binding of Isaac.
Hadn't appeared
Think of all those
a Nintendo platform prior to this.
Sweet ass Wii and Wii U indie games.
I know Hollow Knight did. I played that on 3DS. Cave Story also 3DS. Super Meat Boy, I believe. I think the answer is The Binding of Isaac.
Final answer?
Yes.
I would have gone with.
Oh,
Incorrect.
really?
Hollow Knight.
Really?
Wow.
Hollow Knight.
I was
Originally
thinking of
planned
Shovel Knight. Oh,
to release on the Wii U.
I was too.
I
was
completely
too,
read
that's
that as
funny.
Shovel Knight because
Right.
All right.
Hollow
Knight's
Knight's
a
a great game. I've never played Shovel Knight though.
Shovel Knight is so
Oh,
I've
fucking
only heard good
good.
things.
I
know, and it's
play that
never
one for
really
a
on
long
sale.
time.
I want to get it.
Dude,
No,
it's worth.
every
it's
time I go
worth
and look for
It's
it.
so good.
It's like 30
Yeah.
ish bucks. So
Yeah, but you get
For-
everything with it.
Really?
Though, I guess.
So I'm curious what The Binding of Isaac was on. Like that must have been on that must have been on DS or something or 3DS.
Yeah.
I don't know. Poor Wii U though, kind of crapped on it. So that's.
I guess I'm
sad,
not
but,
thinking of
alright.
handheld. It could be Wii U.
All right, Brandon, you're up. I hope he played Super Meat Boy. Who is the villain who kidnaps
Once.
Bandage Girl in Super Meat Boy, Dr. Fetus, T-Bone, Jamon York, or Sirloin. That's good.
I don't know, but I want to say Dr. Fetus because I remember something funny happened in the beginning of the game, and I think that's his
Dr.
name.
Fetus?
Yeah.
Sirloin's a meat pun, though. Dr. Fetus is correct. And it's a fetus in a jar. That's funny.
There you go.
Big Bad and Super Meat Boy is an intelligent little fetus fella in a life support suit. Lovely chap.
That's funny.
Nice. So Brandon is up to 2. Eric, you need to catch up with this one.
Ooh.
Oh, here we go. Which U.S. state is Gone Home set in? Oregon, Massachusetts, Washington,
I think I know.
or New York?
I love Gone Home, but I don't know if I remember the.
It's been a while since I played.
I think it's definitely the Pacific Midwest.
I mean, the picture right here has got some pine trees in it, so if that helps at all.
I think it's Oregon. It's Oregon or Washington. I think I'm pretty sure it's one of those.
Yeah, that's.
I can't click on them both. I can only click on one.
I'm gonna go with. Ooh, I don't remember. Oregon's my gut. That's my gut.
Trust your gut.
Yeah,
trust your gut.
My gut.
That's what I would have gone with. Yeah.
Do it.
My gut says either.
Oregon is correct. The Fulbright Company's Gone Home is set in rural and fictional Boone County, Oregon.
Did you guys play Gone Home?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good. I really like that game.
That game, I felt like it was going to be scary, but it actually.
I know it sets itself up as a scary game.
This is going to abandon the house. You're just like, where's everybody?
Story. Yeah.
I love a good walking sim, but narrative first person walking sim is a little derogatory.
I think our boy from Firewatch did the sound for the Gone Home, Chris Remo.
Oh really?
Yeah, that dude.
I think so.
Talented mofo. All right, we are at 2-2. If you get this right, Brandon, I'm gonna give Eric a catch-up question just in case to try and tie it. But
I don't know if I'm gonna know. It's a fucking Wii U question.
What is the name of this cracking Wii U indie release? There's a
cracking
picture here. It's a cracking Wii U indie release. Nano Assault Neo, Affordable Space Adventures, Kerbal Space Program, or Faster Than Light. Faster Than Light, amazing indie game. If anybody needs to play that, that would be a great Steam Deck game, Eric. If you're getting froggy for roguelike.
Shh. Giving him hints.
No hints. It just says the game. I played it on PC, but it's on other stuff. It's not just there.
Shut up! Stop talking.
I know. I have no idea which one it is.
I've got
Portable Space Program. It's not that because I know what that looks like, and it sounds like Faster Than Light is not this.
See?
I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
So it's either Nano Assault Neo or Affordable Space Adventures. And I see it looks like a little Sputnik little robot floating thing with eyeballs and something else with a light. Oh god, I don't know. Let's go with Affordable Space Adventures. I have no idea.
Sounds interesting. That is correct.
Wow,
there
good
you go.
guess.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
I think I would have went with Nano
Space Adventures.
Assault, whatever.
Because they look small. Yeah.
One of the best Wii U indie experiences. I don't know if I even know this.
I've never heard of it.
Is it on Switch though?
Use the system's gamepad to great effect, which I think is one thing that the Wii U did not leverage enough. Is that sweet ass tablet thing that it came.
Yeah. Well, Dave, you're one of the 10 people that bought a Wii U, so why don't you download it?
It's check it out. Still set up in my living room.
Yeah, so check it out.
Come on,
check it out.
No.
Well, the Wii U shop.
They closed the Wii U store.
The Wii U shop is no longer, so he can't.
I tried to buy the Zelda.
So this is a fucking brick now. You can't do anything with it.
You can buy discs.
Play games on it.
You can buy discs. Yeah.
You just can't buy anything from the store. So
what was this? The 80s? Okay.
Eric, this is your final attempt at respectability.
Okay.
In life.
So what happened? Is this
game's
just
over,
for,
brother?
Okay, is this just for
respect? See if you can catch it. Yeah. Which of these games does Shovel Knight not appear in? Yooka-Laylee, Road Redemption, Firewatch, or Super Smash Brothers Ultimate? This is a tough one.
Can I guess it's Firewatch? Because I don't ever. I mean, unless Firewatch. I don't know where an instance of Shovel Knight would appear in Firewatch. I know he's in Smash as like an assist trophy. I know.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I know he's in. I think I knew he was in Yooka-Laylee. Road Redemption.
Road Redemption is a Road Rash.
Yeah, it's a
clone.
Road Rash clone, which I could see him being in
Okay.
that. I'm going with Firewatch because I don't think he's. Yeah.
That is correct. The answer is Firewatch.
Yep.
All right. Let's close this out, and I'm going to give you guys a tiebreaker here, so we can we can
Tiebreaker.
get this
Game's over, bro.
Get this over with one
Game's
quick
over,
question,
bro.
What are you talking about? I won. I didn't have any fuck ups. He did. Game's
Brandon
over.
won. Yeah, Brandon did win.
All right. Well, all right. If you're conceding, then I'll just
No,
give it
I
to Brandon.
concede. It was a fair win. I messed up. I misread the
Okay.
question
I
or
lost.
misread the answers.
To this before and it ends.
No.
There's no lifeline.
It was a fair win for sure.
I was just trying to make sure we're all on the level. All right, Eric, you now have to go to the Darkwoods.
Oh,
work your way out of there.
It's not gonna be fun.
Cool.
Just go out during the day.
That's
Thank you
true.
for playing, guys. Thank you for playing indie games. I'd love to also. There's just not enough time in the day to play the amount of games that come out now. So
Especially this year, this year it's been incredible.
Yeah, I can't wait for
Yeah.
retirement because that's all I'm gonna
Right?
do is just catch up on video games.
Let's play Baldur's Gate 3 when I'm fucking 65 and retired.
Oh my god, dude! I'm still playing Tears of the
There we
Kingdom.
Man,
I found a whole
crazy,
new
man.
area I have not explored. I'm like, oh my god,
How many hours you got clocked? You'll have to let us know.
I gotta look that up. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's got to be up there.
It's way
I
over.
fell off.
It's got to be over 100 because I know you've been picking it up here and there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, man. Oh wow, maybe I'll have to get back to you on that.
Check it out. All right.
good?
Yeah, well, thank you guys. If people want to send us their suggestions for games or movies that we should play, Eric, why don't you give us the social deets and let's get out of here.
All right. Well, if you want to follow us on the socials, you can follow us at Nomads of Fantasy on X and Instagram, TikTok. Brandon's been posting lots of stuff on TikTok and YouTube. So the Nomads of Fantasy at the Nomads of Fantasy on TikTok, youtube.com/@nomadsofantasy on YouTube for all of our shorts and episode recording videos, all that good stuff. Check out the video version if you have not yet. Always fun to put up there to see our beautiful faces. If you want to join our Discord, the nomadsofantasy.com/discord. If you want to check out some merch, just go to the nomadsofantasy.com. Click that merch link. Boom. Get your beanies. Get your Brandon beautiful prints. Vinyl. What are they? Are they vinyl prints? What are they?
No, I think they're canvas actually.
Canvas.
Oh, the canvas. Oh,
Fancy.
All right. Yes, and your mug. I want one of those mugs. Sure, because those are some classy mugs. If you want to play our game, whatmapgame.com. If you like guessing video game maps, but other than that, I think that's all I got for you boys. You got anything else before we wrap up here?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Enjoy your Halloween, everyone.
Enjoy your Halloween. Play some horror games. If you got some time, check out an indie or two. Support our indie developers, and as always, it travels nomads.
Eric and I